たった一つのたった一人たった一人の私はここ
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle with some mess. On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for a check. Headed to the Capitol to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical. You can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from the hip, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotions. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told him get up out the cold before my nigga deform. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep poems to a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 501, both hands in the sky. Little do they know it's no plan to survive. I ain't finna give them no chance to decide. I'ma put they feet in both hands in the fire. Dancing in the fire like E-Shake. You gon' test the water, never get both feet wet. We done overexposed the city defense to the overexposure indecent. They don't know they diving in the deep end. Ain't no way that they surviving through the weekend. Everything blown in the flash like a beacon. Drowned in the flames, it's too late to let it sink in. Got 10 ways I can be vengeful. Sitting on 10 grenades, every last pinful. This guerrilla war, they don't know what they in for. I can hear them at the door trying to move in slow. I can hold them off, I got 3 shots. Taking every soul for at least 3 blocks. I can smell the fire burning through the sheetrock. Seeing bodies in the flame, nigga try and reach out. This is how you practice what you finna speak out. Thinking about the facts that they try to leave out. This is for my roots running through the deep south. Dying for a cause, what we finna beef out. If you ain't about the cause, what you finna beef out. Showing up deep, we gon' bring the streets out. Every man line up, showing what your streets out. An independent state, what a nigga need now.
Peace. What's going on, everybody in the building? What's going on? What's going on? I see. Wifey Shay Love is in the building. Moonflower Speaks is in the building. Appreciate y'all coming through. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I definitely had it on my mind today, man. I woke up. I was just kind of going over my debate, and I was like, man, I'm finna kick more ass. And then I was thinking about the last debate and the way that it went. And see, the last debate that we had was if the Bible was Greco-Roman, right? And I mean, like I don't think he knew I knew where he was gonna go in that debate, but I already knew where he was gonna go. Now, in this debate particularly, I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of wondering exactly where is he gonna go. I got a feeling he's gonna try to do something real slick with the word Commonwealth. We shall see. But I think we already know. Um, Moore ain't got no shot. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I think the last time he came in and see where it gets difficult when you're dealing with Moore, you're gonna have to understand how to deal with Moore in the rapid fire. Moore ain't gonna make it easy. And I think the last rapid fire that we definitely had, I think it was definitely a classic, easy on anybody. But I think you could see me gaining momentum, and I ended up kicking his ass. Uh, I think though, in a lot of ways, and to an extent, I kind of wondered if he even seen exactly where what went wrong and where it went wrong. And I was looking at that debate, and one of the things that I had noticed was he couldn't get around that the Ethiopian Bible would have had to have come from the Greco-Roman Bible. That was clear. Like, really wasn't no getting around that. But he tried to maneuver. And see, what was funny is, another thing I was noticing, you had two different sects. So you had the LXX, and then you had the Septuagint, right? You had the LXX, and then you had the Septuagint. So the Septuagint was the lost source, but they were claiming that the LXX came from it. Mind you, it's coming from a lost source. So what I have to even think about, I'm like, damn, in general, the Septuagint never existed. The LXX is the original copy. Now, what he was also trying to do is the Silver Scrolls, which I'll be pulling that up. So, you know what I mean? One of these days. This Silver Scroll. I don't know why they put an S on the end of it. It's a Silver Scroll, and what they call a priestly scroll, and it's got about maybe 4 or 5 verses from what they claim comes from the uh the Book of Numbers, right? And so they claim this comes from the Book of Numbers. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But you know, we don't have any. And see, this is the thing. They can make that claim because, mind you, now that Silver Scroll is dated back well before what we would even deem as a Septuagint. Issue is that we don't have a complete Bible at that time to say, oh, they got this from here. Because pretty much, I think we all know that, if anything, it works the opposite way. Most things in the Bible come from different parts of the world, different cultures, different uh, religious texts and pyramid coffins and all kind of different stuff, right? Ugaritic text. It's just multiple things. Uh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it doesn't work in reverse, right? So what Moore kept trying to do was he was trying to number one, he was trying to sell that this Gies Bible as being Afro-Asiatic, right? Which I was able to prove that wasn't even Afro-Asiatic. Then he tried to push it as if we're all using this Bible. Nobody today is using an Afro-Asiatic Bible. Then what even really killed him was people in Ethiopia don't even read the Gies. They can't even read the Gies. It's like a lost language down there. So I mean, like, it was clear. It was very, very clear that the Bible that we have today was Greco-Roman, is Greco-Roman. And you know what was important too about that debate, because a lot of people would get suckered into, is the Bible the white man's book? That's where you're gonna get yourself dagged at. No, 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 no. But it's Greco-Roman, and they ain't gonna never be able to get around it being Greco-Roman. See, another place where he was dead at, because he kept trying to play like, no, the Ethiopians had the cross and it was way before it, and this and that, before Constantine. They didn't get their cross from Constantine. But it was funny because when we went and checked what kind of money the Ethiopians was using at that time, guess what kind of money they was using? They was using money with a star crescent on it. They didn't put a cross on their money, or you don't even start seeing a cross there until after Christianity. That was almost 400 AD. He was dead on that. He was dead on that. Not even to mention that as soon as we open up the book, it's just a bunch of white dudes in it. Like, let's just be real. The Garima fathers, Abba Garima, this dude supposedly copied the whole book down one day. And mind you, in order for him to copy the book down in one day, they were claiming that the Most High had stopped the sun. The Most High had stopped the sun in order for this nigga to be able to copy it down in one day. Peace of therapy. That's oh yeah, Shabo. What's good? What's good? So I'm looking at like and I'm looking and I'm just waiting to see, how exactly is Moore gonna explain this. So then I come out with the cross question, what does he try to do? The Ethiopians have a cross, but it's not the cross of Constantine. He lied. It was definitely the cross of Constantine. We don't see a cross until after Constantine. And another thing that was funny because at this time, right, while I was doing the research for this, we was already kind of establishing that all roads led back to Turkey. It seemed like no matter what direction you went in, they all led back to Turkey. So like a lot of people see like with Islam, you'll get the star and the crescent, right? You'll get the star and this crescent moon. But that star and that crescent existed before Islam. The star and that crescent existed before the Quran. That star and that crescent existed before Muhammad, before it being a Muslim. All of that. So when you go back to that star and the crescent, guess where you're gonna find that going back to? Turkey. Turkey. See, when you see people with the star and the crescent, it's deeper than just being an Afro-Asiatic. That's their alliance to being Asiatic and to the Asiatic, uh, uh, you know, to this whole Asiatic ideology where you get most of your Abrahamic faiths. And when I talk about the Abrahamic faiths, I'm even including the Brahmin, right? The Brahmin. I'm even including them because when you're dealing with your Abrahamic faiths, it's definitely uh, and some people might disagree with me on that, but I'm definitely going to include the Indian faith. That Hinduism shit is some Abrahamic type shit. I'm just telling you straight up. Telling you straight up. So it's going to be interesting, like I said, to see exactly how the hell does more think he's going to get around this on Sunday. Like, I'm not playing with this dude. I sent in my premise. You know, I sent in my premise. We shall see if we get one from him. Hopefully, he'll send one in. I don't know. I'm just going to be real. I don't know. You know, but hey, either way it go, I'm cooking. Because it's one thing that, like, when we talk about a commonwealth, we're talking about, uh, uh, well, I'll say that. I'll say something. Well, no, I'll go ahead and say it. We're talking about a independent state, right? You talking about an independent state or an independent community that operates independently of the nation. This nigga done lost his mind thinking you finna do that without anarchy. He's losing. And so I'll be proving that definitely. And I'll be kind of piggybacking off of what Anonymous brought out on me with the insurrection, right? So I want to see exactly how is he going to come up, step up to the insurrection ordeal. But like I said, all of that is going down. It definitely will be on Sunday. I don't believe that Moore is ready, but like I don't want to just talk about Moore, so I ain't gonna lie. It's a couple more things I want to get into. Some clowns that I've been seeing. Um, um, the new face of the tour Knights is funny. And you know what I find funny is if y'all don't remember, it's House of Consciousness, tour Knights, in the House of Ephraim forever. That's what's really funny, right? It's supposed to be tour Knights, House of Friends. And it's funny because now today, the tour Knights, they just been trying to separate themselves from the House of Consciousness. Oh no, bro. You niggas is House of Consciousness. You definitely HOK, bro. Stop playing games. You HOK. You joined the booty bandits. That's what you call them, right? You joined them already, bro. Like I don't even get with the weirdo shit. And it's funny when you watch all of this shit because all of them is in a panic. Like everybody is going in all of their own lanes to clean up their way, they name in every way that they can. Nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing. You know what I mean? Just gotta look like the good guy. But the more you start going into it, all of these dudes is looking busted. You got Real G's TV. You got Side. You got Napai. You got what's the other one name? Clyde Diva. They all over here harassing, doggone misunderstood. They got busted. She blasting them out. They over there moving packs and like, bro, what is y'all niggas doing? It's a real deal. So now niggas want to try to separate themselves. No, bro. That's what you was with. You was super hard. You was banging for him. It was all good about a week ago. All of a sudden now this week, you niggas ain't no more HOK. You know, you're trying to separate yourselves from them. All of that. Weirdo type shit. I'm not letting that slide though, bro. I see you, Judah. I see you. Acting like now they get to pretend like they just back into the Torah and you know what I mean, and you be doing that. These niggas have zero Torah knowledge. Zero Torah knowledge. The knowledge of the Torah nights left when me and Chris left. I'm just being real with you. Anything you was gonna get dealing with information and I don't know clown shit, it left when me and Chris Harris left the Torah nights. It was just a wrap from right then. You died. All credibility, all debating skills, all of that, man, is dead. You have no information. The shit that you pulled with Jabari was clownish. I mean, it was entertaining, and that's about as far as it goes, nigga. You're entertaining, and that's what be crazy. These niggas don't like be trying to play like they scholarly. Like, nigga, you're entertaining. You have no scholarship. You have no information. None. None. Then you just pull up anything, bro. And it's just crazy, but you know, I see every group being built around this anti-African hate. Like, and it all starts from the first place. Are you black? And then the first thing, you know you're not black, brother. You know black is a color. And then from there, you ain't no stinking African. Next thing you know, you a self-hating ass coon running around here with telling people that Mexicans are a lost tribe. You niggas is silly. You niggas is silly, bro. Like, I'm just gonna be 100 with you. And shout out to my Latino family. I definitely fuck with the Latino, but not like that. Not like that, bro. Like, come on, man. What are y'all doing? Can we have an alliance? Yeah, yeah. I think we should have an alliance. Should it go any further than that? Hell no. No world is wrong with y'all. We got enough issues going on. We don't need to include any more. And it sucks because when you look at the Israelite, but in a way, the Israelite movement could be something that is powerful because in a way, it already has this alliance in a way kind of built with the Native Americans and uh, the Mexicanos or the Latinos in general. And so that Western Hemisphere type of alliance, that could be a powerful alliance. Problem is, none of them niggas want to get along. Problem, none of them niggas want to get along. Like, could you imagine if you got like IUIC with ISUPK and because and this is the important part because even us not necessarily being a part of it, we kind of play a critical role in correcting and checking and making sure that what they doing is being criticized, scrutinized, and then in a way made better. You know what I'm saying? Cleaned up. And so that would more so be our job from the outside. But I could imagine it's a lot more that can be done with it. But instead, the Bible gets in the way. And that's what I noticed. Like, that's the dividing factor, really, when you look at all of those groups. The very thing that seems to bring us together is the very thing that seems to divide us. It's almost like we can't like step past people having doctrines, people having like and understand that it's supposed to be something that's almost used as like a little hidden gem, something that you kind of like sort of keep behind you. But it's not supposed to be something that we fighting over. Not at all. Not at all. It's supposed to be like a way where like I see how they use it. Like in a lot of ways they use the Bible to like threaten people with My fault, kick myself out. But in a lot of ways, though, they use it to like threaten people without threatening people, which is really slick. And I get that. And I'm not even gonna lie, it's it's a lot of slick ways that you can use it and get it done. The problem is that it ends up getting in the way. Power to the dark side. The Sith Lord is in the building. The Sith Lord is in the building. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it can be something like the Israelite movement in itself is something that can be used to truly make something happen, to truly build something, to truly like see independence and liberty and different things like that. The problem is the Bible gets in the way of these. General Yohanan and them, these niggas can't get with you got IUIC and them probably I mean, that's a damn near army. ISUPK, I'm not even gonna mention the other group, but y'all know all these groups. There's no getting together over a verse. Like some of them, like literally, how one verse is interpreted. Niggas went and started a whole nother group. Are you serious, bro? Seriously, it's too much of an investment in the book and not enough investment in each other, and that's the issue. It's like, and you see it in the beginning. It starts out like it's all about the people and this and that. It's the people for the people, and then the book gets in the way. And it becomes like this biblical dictatorship on some trib type shit. Peace, green up 101. What's good with your God body? You know what I mean? It becomes this like crazy dictatorship. And and so I get like you have your why you get your rogue Israelites, but these dudes don't really make a difference because the Israelites with the power and the influence would be your one Westers. Peace, peace, appreciate you, son. Terry. It would be your one Westers. And so those are the ones who actually make effect. So you have like your apologist Israelites who come through and try to clean up the doctrine. No, we're peaceful towards Africans, and no, we don't really feel that way about women. No, we don't. But the real issue ain't them. The real issue is they don't really have no power. They're just rogue agents running around here spilling the Bible on the internet. The niggas that's actually making the impact and doing shit is the one West. Problem is with the one West niggas, these niggas is too lost in the Bible. It all runs around in a circle. Same reason why we left the black church. Why did we leave the black church? Because of the Bible. Silly shit. Not because of anything else. We got a doctrine issue. We want people to read the Bible the way we read the Bible. If not, we'll start our own group, which splits us up again. We're not supposed to be there because of the Bible. We're supposed to be there for each other. It's the issue. But people don't understand about what it means to be the living word. That's the difference. The living word. And it's talking Torah, Torah, Torah. You can't break Torah, bro. Hey, it's impossible. That be that dogma. If we can stick with principles and stay away from a dogma, we'll be all right. Problem is we start fighting over the dogma and forgetting about the principle, and then we just, what I mean, cut each other out of the deal. Same old happens over and over again. And then we wondering why we not seeing no progression. And it's not helping. We got rogue Israelites coming on the internet doing what they doing, just speaking against. That doesn't help the situation. Yeah, it needs to be scrutinized. Yeah, but the only way you can truly change something, you have to be in it. And so the problems, like I said, the problems that we had with the black church and the things that we claim, well, who fault would that be? Black men left the black church. So not only did you leave it, who did you leave it to? The wolves. You left the women and the children in there with the wolves over some scriptures. it becomes a silly cycle, and you'll see us continue to split and continue to split and continue to split over when the end of the world is gonna come, over um, what type of Jordans did Jesus wear? Um, you know, was Paul from the back? Like all of this silly, weird shit. Get out of that, bro. We supposed to be dealing with each other and not the other stuff. But like I said, it's the dogma getting in the way of the principle. That's gonna always seem to be a major issue. Can't allow your dogma to get in the way of the principle. Which we're willing to throw our principles out of the window anyway as soon as the ego gets tested. See, if the ego is tested in the wrong way, then you can say bye bye. I'm telling you right now. Once the ego tested, what grandma say? You done made me forget I was a Christian, right? Because the ego is tested. Now you feel like you got something to defend. Morals and principles and things that you stand on, those things go out of the window. No matter how wrong you are or right. But it's a line because now it's like, okay, so when we see these camps, okay, so we see things that need to be checked. When we see things going on in the church, we see things that need to be checked or corrected or made better. But how do you go about doing that without bruising the ego? Because if you bruise the ego, all principles and morals go out the window. They now have something to defend. It's gonna be tough though. But I don't think we really climb out of this situation unless we see we had a mass exodus from the church. We're gonna have to go back. We gotta go back in the opposite direction. We're gonna have to. Our history is in the black churches. Most of our documentation, uh, uh, birth certificates, all kind of stuff. All of this stuff is there already. The when we always cry about infrastructure and not having infrastructure and wanting infrastructure to be built, that infrastructure has already been built. It's already there. It's already there. You want me to ride? Want me to ride? Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, but a lot of times they don't end up seeing these different things, and we choose to fight against it anyway. And a lot of it is gonna be ego. And so even when we see the things that need to be corrected, that need to be made right, and people that need to be changed, you're gonna see it's gonna be hard to even make it happen. Let me jump the link. Shift, just in case anybody. So I think the exodus that we had, I think it not only pulled us further apart, but I mean, it's just caused a bunch of unnecessary stuff to kind of take place that don't need to happen. Got it? I got it. That doesn't need to be, you know. But eventually, I say we gotta address these things. We're gonna have to address these things. So we'll watch and we'll watch the rogue ones. They'll roam around and pretend as if what you doing, little man? And pretend as if um, they got a super stop every that like the goal that they have is really black people and for black people. It is not, man. It's gonna always like it always ends up being about their doctrine, and that's the issue. We're not solving the main issue is, and I think Yara brought this out on me in a debate. He tried to use this doctrine is always up for debate. I think principle though is not debatable, right? The principles pretty much remain the same. The dogma is what seems to switch in and out and do different things like that. But you ain't gonna get as much as that from hold on, let me get on the computer real quick. I'm definitely gonna bring some stuff out. Well, actually, nah. Um, I'm gonna get a live started though, because I did have some stuff to show y'all. And on top of that, I got some stuff too. I want to break down too on the market. Get y'all right in the market just in case. And yeah, man, if anybody if anybody is interested or is investing, no baby. If anybody is interested though in investing, or you have different things that you're thinking about investing in, you want them looked at, you want me to talk about them, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Um, I definitely don't mind. I'll put, whatever stock it is that you're looking at. I'll throw it on the Fibonacci. Um, and we'll take a look at it, see if we can get a little price check on on the price action, different things like that. So anybody who 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 is currently investing, you got different stocks and stuff that you want me to look at, or even cryptos that you want me to take a look at, and just to kind of give you a little idea of where it might be going. But I can't let you have no pen, man. I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm not gonna let you have no pen, man. Yeah, but I definitely wanted to chime in on a little bit of the foolery that we've been kind of seeing going on. What you want? There you go. There you go. And nothing worse, bro, when you go to hand your baby something, he just throw it. And your baby's name to there. Swear to God. Like, I don't get it. I ain't gonna lie. This is a different class, though, of babies, man. These babies right now, revolutionary babies. I'm telling you, these some revolutionary babies. They don't listen. They don't take no for an answer. And they don't care about getting popped. That's some of the things I have noticed when we talk about them. All right. But, man, everything is ain't nothing gonna be easy though when we talk about, you know, in general what we're trying to accomplish. I think the issue is how do we go about accomplishing. And I think a lot of times the way that we even discuss a revolution is just kind of counterproductive. You know, I don't think it's really, to me, when they talk about, how my non-participation is so far-fetched and all of that, to me there sound like it's something straight out of a movie. I'm just gonna be honest. We're gonna get this money and we're gonna buy land and political power and we're gonna get armed up and have an army and then when they come to fight against us, it'll be blood, sweat, and we'll get out of it on the other end just fine. I don't really see that. I'm just gonna be 100. Like I don't really see this whole like glorious ordeal where nobody has to, pay any sort of repercussions. Like the shit kind of becomes weird to even look at it in that fact. But people do it anyway. People do it anyway. And like I said, it's just a lack of understanding what you're fighting against. You know what it is. It's the goal. And another thing is, I think it's also understanding what life is. I think that's part of it is understanding what is life. I think we have to redefine these things. What is life? What is work? What does that look like? What does success look like? You know, like every day it for me is like a fight for time. You know what I mean? Like that's my main concern. It's time. To me, I think the other stuff comes. Hmm. Yeah, I think it just comes. And a lot of people, I think, are like in like where we kind of want we like we're attached so much to like the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator, and we kind of think like that's what life is and that's what it's supposed to be. And that's just not true, you know. Like, and a lot of that stuff is the reason why we're okay with other people's starving. I like it's crazy. I was watching a movie. It was a movie. I know a lot of y'all have seen this already. I'm quite sure y'all should have. John Q. Right? I'm watching the movie John Q. And one of the main things I like that was really made this sad was money was gonna be the reason why a baby was gonna die. You know what I'm saying? The money was more important than the baby being able to live. Like there was no incentive to make sure that that baby had heart, found a heart, things went correct, all of that. There was no incentive for any of that at all. But we. Uh oh, sorry. But yeah, gosh. But yeah, we see there was no incentive at all uh to in order to get that baby a heart without money. And to me, that's the dangers that of capitalism and accepting it the way that we do. But we like I said, man, it's like we've been like programmed and trained to like feel sad about it, but at the same time feel like it's nothing that we can do because if we did it for this baby, we'll have to do it for all babies. But it's like that should be the case. Like, yeah, you should have to do it for all babies. That's the point. And to pretend like free healthcare isn't something that should be like highly important for all people. It is. I don't want doctors that only work for money. We need doctors who work because they love to save people. And when they do, guess what? That's when you're gonna get the best care. That's when you get the best love. So we look at a John Q and we like, man, like think this man at the point had to pretty much risk his own life in order for him, in order to, you know what I mean, in order to try to save his son. Because the only thing that the hospital was thinking about was making a dollar. That's it. So there's no, like, for me, there's no compromise in the system like that. There is none. If you're talking about baby, whether a baby should live or die, you can't put a dollar sign on that. And I think he even did the math. I think that particular hospital, I think, and mind you, this was the movie. I don't even think that movie was based on a true story, but um, I'm quite sure it was based on real events. And even the hospital, they even did the shit. Hold on, let me block that. My fault. Hold on, y'all. I gotta block that. Ooh. So yeah, even in an instance, I think he had did the math though, and I think they had like did like however many surgeries they had basically did. They had made like over like 700 and something $1 billion off the surgeries, and they still refused to do the surgery for free. Like it was just ridiculous. And and like I said, it and the fact that people was able to live with that is what really made it sickening to me because you would like wonder like there's no way I'm gonna be able to live with telling somebody's baby that they gotta die. Like I can't live with that. But the doctor in that instance, he was just cool with saying, "Man, I'm sorry." Oh well, nothing we can do. He was okay with that, and that's where the danger is when we, you know what I mean, we start looking at other people as bums and you should be able to afford this and you should be able to do that. I think we kind of lose sight of what life is and what it's about. And money shouldn't dictate who deserves to live, who deserves to die. Money shouldn't dictate who deserves to eat, who deserves to starve, especially when we in reference to babies. Like this is crazy. Especially not only that, you talking about we have it we are having issues finding shelter for people in places where I mean like literally you where it's so many abandoned buildings. I mean, you're talking about you got skyscrapers with unoccupied buildings. You got restaurants that's throwing away food on a nightly basis. It's like it's so many things that can be set up and done in order to eliminate some of the issues that we have of hunger and it's enough for people to still be able to have some of the luxuries that they have. The problem is we're not making any incentive for it. And like to look at a movie like John Q and not see like there's something wrong with the system. I don't see because even like I said, even though I don't think John Q was based on a true story, it was based on real events. And I'll find some. I'll find real events and we'll see if the price was worth that. Because like to me, I don't think there's ever gonna be a reason or an excuse to say, yeah, it's cool. That baby can die. It's the father's fault. He didn't have, he couldn't, you know what I mean? Like it's just the crazy stuff. Or it's the mother's fault because her insurance doesn't, like, come on. Some stuff shouldn't require, you know, money. I think stuff though, if we talk about making capital, I think it's cool to have it off of things that are luxury. But I think more services need to be made public. More services need to be made public. If you have the cure for something, it's not about the dollar. And it's amazing. Like I think the dude who created the polio vaccine, free. He just gave that to the world. He didn't try. He didn't use that to try to make any money off of it and take advantage of people at all. He had no intentions of taking advantage of anybody. But what happened? They were gonna let him die. Not only that, remember they had sent them home. Cause mind you, he get the call like, yo, you they sending him, they can ready to send him home. You gonna do something now. We gotta come up with a better way. So to me, it's stuff like that, I think, are the scenarios I don't think that we be paying attention to when we be having different discussions. I think we tend to look at it like, well, you should be able to do this and everybody should be able to have that. Well, it's things that are unforeseen that occur outside of your insurance. There are diseases and things that happen to kids and people and babies, all of that that occur outside of your insurance. So yeah, it's easy to say, oh yeah, but you don't. You know what I mean? It's things that are unforeseen. But at the end of the day, that baby's life should have never been in the hands of a dollar. Like that's bad. And then to have the system not only with an incentive, but I don't necessarily think that the doctor is ever even put in a predicament where they necessarily have to pull to say, okay, I'll do it anyway because of what all goes into it. So I think it's ways that we can figure out that. I mean, as much taxes that we pay and our taxes go to all kind of nonsense. Like if y'all would have seen, man, where my taxes went, I was looking, man, because like I said, man, I'm out here in Mobile, and particularly in Mobile, like crime here is well, I ain't gonna say it's like all the way down like that, but it's not high. I'll say that crime is not high here. You cut the TV off, and so. Well, no, they do have crime. It's just not like a city where it's like everything going on at one time in so many different places, that type of stuff. But they had a crime. Prostitution really ain't a thing down here, but they wasted my money, right, on a drugs thing. And when I tell you, they was like congratulating each other like they had made this like big time bust, right? And God, they was like, yeah, man, this is big for getting stopping crime. It's crimes. It's stuff like this that leads to people getting to homicides and da da da. I thought they was finna roll out some packs on everything I love. They rolled out like 5 nickel bags of weed on everything I love, like 5 nickel bags of weed. and like a bottle of prescription pills, and maybe about 15, 20. I was like, bro, y'all serious right now? This is a big sting operation. Like, man, that's like a that's a regular nigga. You just got pulled over by the police, being reckless type shit. That ain't like no sting operation. Kicked in the whole door. It was like, yeah, we shut down 3 businesses. I was like, are y'all sure those 3 businesses was selling that, or are they like using that shit? Because in a way, I'm not even gonna lie to you. What they showed on the screen, those dudes, the dudes themselves look like users. I'm just gonna be honest with you. None of them look like they sold. They all look like they used. But they pretended like this was like the biggest bust in history. I was just like, okay, okay. I guess we making progress. Like that type of stuff, I don't be knowing how to look at it. But instead of wasting money on that, maybe we could have used that tax money towards somebody's baby being able to get a heart transplant or the necessary surgery that they needed for whatever it is, or a cure for leukemia or some shit like that. Which I'm quite even sure they got one. You know what I'm saying? Like these people so wicked, bro. They probably got cured for like leukemia and shit, bro. And it's like either only a certain sect or you know what I mean. They know your money, right? So I kind of shit. They go. That's why I don't even I like understand whenever the technology. By the time we get it, we're like 50 years behind the military, and I believe that's for surgery, everything. 'Cause we even see the military was using lasers before we got laser surgery. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of ways, uh, I feel straight off that. In a lot of ways, man, the system in itself is when and it's only a matter of time before you see a January 6th on a mass scale. You know what I mean? It's only a certain amount of time because people don't you like you can only take advantage of somebody for so long. And so when you're the one that's the energy behind the system and fueling the system, but you're not getting anything in return for the energy that you sacrifice, that's like equivalent, then eventually you stop giving to the infrastructure. Eventually you stop. But we're so attached to the infrastructure, we don't really want to, we we want to separate, we want independence, but we want it with everything running the way it is now. It don't matter who babies is being taken advantage of. We don't care as long as it ain't ours. We cool. We'll be able to sleep at night. And to me, that's embarrassing to black people. Like the main embarrassing part to me is like the only reason why it's embarrassing to me is because when we look at all that we've been through to wish that on somebody else is like just as evil. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I always say my goal is never to like switch position. It's to eliminate this position for anybody else after. And that's the only way that we even move forward with a clean slate. Because if not, we're basically thinking that we're gonna continue to basically keep up the same bullshit that's been going on around the world. take advantage of different people. Like they can't work our babies here, so they'll go to a country where they can work people's babies. Shout out to Niqua B. Hey sis, I appreciate you. I hope everything well with you. Make a speedy recovery. We shall be seeing you soon. And it's like that. At some point, we have to care who's whether it's our babies or somebody else's baby. It must be a priority, whether it's our baby or somebody else. We have to make them a priority. And that's like to me, when you look at a movie like a John Q, you start to see nobody's babies is really a priority. It's only the money. And so a hospital cares as much as you can spend with them, or as much as your insurance covers. That type of stuff, it is unacceptable. Now, what kind of time you think somebody deserves for going into whatever extent that they feel is necessary? And the worst part is you talking about people who are creating this change out of they creating the money out of debt. You talking about you're printing money, and yet you can't save a baby because of money. You know, so I think a lot of times we talk about the insurance, but I think part of the problem with insurance is that it's a multitude of things that's out of your control that insurance won't cover. It's a multitude of things, and so if the insurance doesn't cover it, then what do you do? Now you have to find this extra money out of nowhere that most Americans don't have. I think like the that we're in a whole nother age today where most Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. And those type of paycheck to paycheck jobs are disappearing every day. A lot of people we talk about the pandemic. uh, I ain't gonna say that necessarily all of it was made, but I will say this: it damn sure didn't slow down the direction that they wanted us to go in the first place. I think even when I had the metaverse conversation, you could see that we have been kind of being geared towards this direction in the first place. And so now it was just about having something that would occur that would make you comfortable enough to go through it. And so now people are more comfortable always having to be in the house. You know what I mean? If they would have told you that last year, stay in the house, you wouldn't feel as comfortable. You're gonna start working from home. Your kids gotta go to school from home. You wouldn't feel as comfortable. But then look what they had to do. We don't even like I said, I think we're not really looking at it from a standpoint of what like the tide is turning for the country in general. I think we looking at January 6th like it was some sort of game. Like, nah, bro. That's the feeling of America right now. And the panel is open too, guys. You can jump on whenever you want. Shout out to my main man Goldmine in the building. What up, twin? But This is on us. You don't want to change it? Okay. You don't have to. But as a whole, we'll continue to suffer in it. But I think the discussion that black people are kind of having, I think we're kind of behind on the time. I'm not even gonna lie. I think we're a little bit we're more invested in this country, I think, than white people are right now. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I think we're more invested in this country and this system than the people that it's for right now. And it's embarrassing. I don't think in even when we discuss separation or any of that, I don't even think we really even think about what it looks like, what it means. Like we talk about hospitals. We haven't even like we don't even have a medical pedagogy. It's almost embarrassing. Shout out to Gold. Boy, that was a hell of a debate last night, man. I gotta say that too. My boy Domo. My boy Domo. That was definitely a dope debate. And and it was crazy. It was a part in there too. I thought it could have hit. I think Madon actually he said, "Well, if it's so different, why are they using the exact same term?" But they actually don't. They use the term, and that's why Alice Walker, right? If y'all know who Alice Walker is, she wrote The Color Purple. That's why she used the term womanism in order to separate from what they call what they had was mainstream feminism. She called it womanism. And it was crazy though. I'm glad that they finally got their debate going because I had been wanting to kind of talk about it, but I didn't want to hedge the debate. But and I knew like this is kind of what Madon was gonna do. He argued against all of the things that he heard on YouTube. I get it. He argued against a lot of the different things that he heard on YouTube. And so yeah, I get it. If you hearing stuff on YouTube, you would probably look at um, feminism or black feminism or womanism in maybe a negative light. But anybody who's actually like read the works and heard them, like a Kimberly Crenshaw, and you'll know, bro, that those are totally different sentiments. Those are totally different sentiments. Like what Alice Walker and what uh a Kimberly Crenshaw would express is going to be different from what you would hear on YouTube. And I thought Madon, I just don't think he really, I don't think he really studied up on that. I don't think he really studied up on it. You know what I mean? And like understanding like their actual arguments, their talking points, and what they actually are standing for. Even saying, I think the argument he was making that they weren't anti-capitalist, but they were. They were in every sense of it. But you know, it gets overlooked because a lot of times people will see like I know a lot of people. Well, I'm in particular. I didn't like the book, The Color Purple, or the movie. But Alice Walker has a lot more books than that, and in other books, I think she's fair. I think she gives a fair assessment on what you know what I mean on what she thinks a healthy relationship looks like, and um, not as far as with somebody that you're involved with physically, but just in general, how we interact with each other. I think she definitely seen something different. And so I think it was for me. He was falling asleep, man. He fell asleep, and he didn't necessarily he wasn't necessarily prepared for what kind of the kind of arguments that Domo was getting ready to make, which I got. But understand, man, Domo, we studied it. Even when we talk about like a bell hooks, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be more respect put on the name. And I think the more that the arguments that we hear from different people on YouTube, the more that they actually do the study on that, the better that their arguments will be made, the better their arguments will be. And so I think like a lot of the times, I think the way that it's done on YouTube in a lot of ways, and the reason why it's kind of shunned by a lot of men is because it in a lot of ways it seems more done in an antagonistic way. But I think when we look at the study and you actually study what it is and stuff, it's not a threat at all to black people. If anything, it's something that helps. Like, I think when we talk about like a Kimberly Crenshaw and we get into like intersectionality, like it's just understanding that within the phases that are already happening in the current system and how people are being affected by the current system, there are also other factors that happen in between that affect people. Shout out to my main man Yusuf in the building. What's good with you, guy body? What's good? That's my dude right there, bro. I fucks with Yusuf tough, man. I fucks with Yusuf tough, and uh, brother right there definitely drops a lot of revolutionary knowledge, man. A lot of revolutionary knowledge. He's definitely got that type of mindset. So shout out to Yusuf in the building. But yeah, man, definitely. Hey man, y'all hit the link, man. Whenever y'all feel free to hit the link. It's definitely an open panel. So y'all feel free whenever y'all wanna let me drop it again. Whenever y'all wanna jump in. But yeah, and so I think a lot of times the talking points, yeah, right, and yeah, man. Yeah, and but see, and for that reason too, that's why you get Alice Walker and them separating themselves away from that feminist movement. You know what I'm saying? And putting themselves in a different light. I think I think what happens though is the movies that they make around the Alice Walker or the people who sometimes agree with the Alice Walker, but the talking points that those people use, I think it does sort of put a stain um on what they're actually trying to accomplish. Because it's definitely not the same. Like we definitely we're hearing some of the talking points, but a lot of them are different from what you usually would hear, on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like um because I think I think like when we talk about like being as Pan Africans, I think for the most part, I think we agree with most of the sentiments that with womanism on how a family should look. The position of the members in the family and the respect that these family members would get. I think you I don't think we disagree with that because I think if anything what they're challenging is the way that and what we as we call like the Abrahamic faith, you know, the more the more patriarch ordeal, and those just aren't healthy. You know, those patriarchs we just see those just really aren't healthy. And most places you're gonna see those that are places like you close to war and different stuff like that. But that's when you're dealing with anthropology. But outside of that, oh, shit, we got somebody in the building. The Sith Lord is in the building. Peace, peace, God, peace.
Peace. What's up? What's up? Hey, what you talking is kind of like my wife's field. Like she was agreeing with you. I said, "Won't you say something?" She's like, "Nah, nah." What you had to say?
Peace, Blue. How are you?
What's going on? What's going on, sis?
Nothing much. Peace to you and Shay Love in your household. I was just agreeing that how I grew up reading the our great ancestors like Zora and Alice and Maya. I grew up with those women because our house was very, very intellectual. And so I
Right.
like how just hearing what you said, especially from, a black man. I'm glad that you were able to see that what Alice Walker was trying to, especially in that movie, that book, of her trying to portray, express just some of what our ancestors went through, and like the reason why we even had that book, because my grandmother and my great grandmother, they really, really resonated with that book, because unfortunately they did marry abusive men, but we all know that wasn't everybody's story. But unfortunately, the white feminist group, they did take a hold of it. And like you said, they use it for their talking points. So now it's completely muddled. And it's really unfortunate because instead of just really, as a black woman who actually counsel and help other black women and their children with abuse, neglect that we inherited through our ancestors, through our bloodline, that unfortunately there's no, as you would call it, was it what kind of love? Revolutionary love. I just call it simply just like empathy and compassion, like ma'at. There's no ma'at, that you're just focusing on what our enemy has taken for their own benefit, instead of just looking like, hey, some of our sisters do need to heal. Hey, some of us, even for men who may not have like come from the best line when it comes to men, maybe their dad was a Rolling Stone or the father was a drunk. Like, we have to look at it and say, like, I have those predisposed characteristics. How do I heal myself, even as a black man, to make sure that that cycle ends with me, so we could go forward as a whole, as a unit, right? And so
Right.
so thank you. I just really like to know that there's a brother out there that's like, yes, he gets it, he hears it. And unfortunately, like you said, it just, they took it and they take our stuff and they run with it, and it gets so gross.
They weaponize it. They know how to weaponize everything that we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they turn it into a weapon, and now it's the black man versus the black woman. No, why? Why does it have to be versus?
Yes.
Why is not a tool to heal or a tool to build? And that's what they did when when they infiltrated the movement, because women, especially white women back in those times, they credited the black women for leading the feminist movement. But up until the
Right.
70s and 80s, it began to change. It became something totally different. And I thought Madon should have took that route. I think he would have had a, but like you said, Madon ain't gonna really study it. He just,
Yeah, he won't go into it
yeah,
because he
yeah,
definitely had arguments he could have made, especially against. I thought he could have. He had arguments he could have. Matter of fact, he set up some arguments
Yes.
in the debate, but he didn't make them. I was like, oh, well, you right there
right,
at the door, but
right,
which I
right.
think Domo would have probably been able to answer him, but it at least would have made it a little bit, just a little bit more of a fight.
And then
And
I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. Don't no,
No.
you got it. Go ahead.
Oh, and just like the last point, because a lot of people like to bring up the color purple, right? And some of the
Hmm.
people on SVDL, they like to use those as talking points, like, like, oh, there's misters out there, misters in form of dusties. Okay, so they're flip flopping the words, but I,
Right,
a lot
right,
of people do not like to bring up the last like the ending of the movie, which is the ending of the book as well, how there was reconciliation between Celie and Mister, meaning that once she found out who she was, it was on Christmas Day, and she's like, "No, I had enough." That was self love. She's like, "You're not going to do this to me," and she had her own shop. She was, and then she
Right.
reconciled with her children, but then she reconciled with Mister. Yeah, he was like, I'm sorry, that I mistreated you. It's like she found who she was. She healed, and nobody talks about that. It's like at the movie, Celie healed who she
Right.
was. She became the color purple, meaning like she became whole. She wasn't red, she wasn't blue. She was whole, and she was able to have a friendship with him, forgive him. And I think that's where your revolutionary love
Wait,
steps in.
is that what purple?
Hold on.
No, no,
Time out.
no. You mixing us up. Revolutionary love is me.
Oh yeah,
Blue is
yeah. I'm
agape
agape
love.
energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Well, it's love. I can say love then.
yeah.
But nobody brings that up. Or just like Beyonce with the Lemonade album. They always want to talk about, see, she's mad at what's his name? Sorry, Jay-Z for cheating
Jay
on her,
Z.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they only want to focus on one song like Sorry, or another song where she's Oshun and she's like, she has a bat. They only want to focus on those songs. But it's like the last song, the last two songs, they don't focus on that. It's like they reconciled. Do you understand that? Like they healed, and they made the conscious decision to like continue the relationship. And at the end, like, yes, you get to choose if you want to be with that person or not. Celie choose not to be in a romantic relationship with Mister, but there was forgiveness, and they formed a friendship. And nobody talks about that when it comes to issues of us black men and black women. Like, we don't have to be together romantically, but if we have children, we could co-parent. Why can't we talk about that? Or, yeah, you cheated on
Right.
me. Yeah, you did all this stuff, but we're going to separate. I'm going to heal, and hopefully you're going to heal through your ancestors or in the Most High. And if we can come together to stop this generational cycle, or as the Christians or Hebrews will say,
Right.
curse, like those are the talks that I would love to hear black people. But we get so stuck on, like you said, the talking points, and just. But I think that's
Swinging
what.
hate.
Yep, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, no, can we move forward? Like, can we look at it as a whole? So, anyways, I'll let you get back to your thing. But that was really good, Blue.
No, no, y'all good. Y'all good. I'm
and
definitely. I wanted to open up the panel anyway about it
and
because
happy
it's.
belated solar return.
Oh, I appreciate that too. I appreciate that. Feeling a little bit older, but definitely. But yeah, I definitely. I think though, and I think the movie, Color Purple, doesn't do the book justice. And I think that's part of the issue. I think when we see the movie, and then we think about Alice Walker as opposed to the
Yeah.
book that she wrote,
Yeah. Because
it's
I don't like
different.
the movie at all. But
Yeah, I
my
definitely don't.
wife, she reminded, she tell me how women, their point of view, and I understand it. But as a man,
Yeah,
I don't like it. Especially coming in the 80s.
right, right,
The
right.
black male image was already, we was fighting for the black male image in the 80s. Then you come up with the color purple. I just thought the timing was,
It was a dagger.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm like, why? But and that was like an example of weaponizing. They
Yeah,
weaponized their book.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And because and it's clear. Like I even hear like when we hear like the different discussions like that we would hear on YouTube, it's totally different from what you would hear come out of Alice Walker mouth. Like how how um, how they feel about the black man and different things like that. Those are totally, what I mean. And their goals doesn't exclude black men.
right.
And so I think that's where I think Madame made his mistake was like he was focused in on what he had been hearing out of people on YouTube
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
enough on what Domo was gonna bring. Like,
right, right. Because he had so much material. And I'm like, man,
mhm.
Madon,
Some
that would have been a debate I would have took with Domo. I would have took that
Yeah,
debate.
I think that one would have pushed the conversation more because I think it was still ways that he could have showed it breaking up the family. I think he was like right there, but he just never
Yeah,
hit it because he hit it
he
when he
didn't make no
said,
connections.
"Well, why?" Yeah,
He had all the talking points, but he never had the
yep.
research with the talking points to connect it to.
Because you can see, okay, the marriages go down after the sexual revolution. This is a part of the feminist ordeal. Like it was ways he could have finessed that, and
Yeah,
then also, I think in general, when he said, like, I think the first question that Soda asked, why did they create it in the first place? Like, that's the first thing you had to ask. Well, why are they creating it? Because they're
right,
creating a separate group from the group that already exists, bro. That's
right.
separation. Like, you ain't getting around the separation part. But I think if he would have been more practical in that aspect of it, but instead he was on his manosphere. You know what I mean? High horse. I'm like this dude, which it wasn't as bad. I will say that I was shocked. It wasn't as bad as the debate as I
Right,
expected.
and I think he deserved maybe 5 to 8 points more than he got.
Yeah, because he definitely did a good job. He definitely did a good job. It was I just thought he could have did better with, and that just what it came with knowing at least knowing the people. Like I think if he at least knew them and heard some of them,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, some of the things that they say, then he would have known what not to say and found a different argument. Like,
right,
okay, I gotta
right,
argue this.
right. And if you dealing with Domo and feminism, study bell hooks.
Yep, yep. You got to. You got to know bell hooks.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why I studied them. I had been on Kimberly Crenshaw, but bell hooks was the main one I had got on because of him. You know, I was like, let me go ahead and get in bell hooks real quick. So
yeah,
I had got on that, but I was on Kimberly Crenshaw because of Derek Bell and them creating a CRT.
yeah, yeah. I man, I was being sneaky with Taz. I was gonna get him with Garvey, but uh, Garvey really had a strong woman's movement in the 1920s. He was way ahead of his time, and
Facts.
that was going to be my point. If it was a scam, how did you have the nurses brigade, all these women in high power position in the 1920s,
Right.
and it was unheard of back then. That was the Garvey movement. But since he's not in the league, I kind of put that in the file.
Backed off of it. Y'all
Yeah,
still might be able to get something in on that though,
yeah,
because that definitely would be a fire one.
but
Right.
Oh yeah.
I,
What's good, Yusuf? What's
no,
good? What you got?
I was back there for 5 whole minutes.
Yeah, I was outside. I walked in. I was like, damn. Yeah, yeah. I was outside. Got my phone in here on the charger. What's
It's
good?
all
What you know, got my.
peace,
Yeah,
peace.
you could jump in. I know you probably want. You probably want to take it back a little bit.
Yes, I'm itching. I'm itching to get in. I think this is a good discussion. And hello to Naeem and your queen. Peace to you. Congratulations on such an intelligent queen. And
well, thank you.
uh, I came in though when you was talking about how they had to force us to do this and force us to do that. They had to do all of this pandemic in order to get people comfortable being in their own
Mhm.
home and molding their own children's mind. I thought that was very interesting.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of things that came out of this pandemic that we can use to transmutate, you see? And when you transmutate, you taking
Right.
things that is what they is and you making lemons out of lemonade pretty much, right? And then it's a thing about accountability, and like y'all was saying with the color purple and everything, it's a thing about a vicious cycle of how the art is imitating life and calling these things into existence, and vice versa. Because even with the ending, like the queen was saying, it was interesting because she did heal, but at the end of the day, it's always teaching that the woman gotta deal with it in one way or another. It's a lot of people, and we always want to hold people accountable. We'll hold whites accountable every now and then, very rarely, but then not enough of that either. But as men and as a community, we have a lot of accountability to give and to hold. And so that's not comfortable. It don't feel good, you know. But it don't mean somebody don't love you and don't want to work and build with you, you know, if they want to hold you accountable.
Right.
And it's the good ones who need to hold the bad ones accountable. So when women is complaining about men, this, and that, and you know you're not that man, you come to her rescue and go check that man. You see? And so that we don't see a lot of that.
Right.
And there's a lot of coming to the rescue of Black women, and they already feel and are the most unprotected. So that says a lot to their experience. Just like Out the Blue was saying, all of these narratives are tied to each other's different experience.
Exactly. And I think in a lot of ways I think we don't it's undermined what their like exactly what their experience is because it just gets lumped in with ours. And
Right.
though we are going through, you know what I mean, like we are both in the same uh uh captivity or whatnot, they're almost in two because it's like it's not only the outside, but it's also in the home. And a lot of that is, you know, not making excuses, but a lot of it we are bringing shit home. And then, like I said, I think the main problem is how we define masculinity and femininity.
Right. And divine
And
masculinity,
yeah,
divine femininity. Because see, and that's the thing. Women are losing their divine femininity at this point because we haven't channeled our divine masculinity. And I do think that they have rode with us for long enough for us to fight and realize that we got to fight for ourselves. And I'm not talking about you, and I'm not talking about you, and I'm not even talking about him. But there is too many of us in these debilitating situations for positive change. In order for positive change, more of us do have to get on board. So we have to start to incorporate that into our culture, incorporate that into our family structure, and incorporate that to that's that whole Black love is a revolution thing, you know. And it doesn't even rather you have kids or not, you know. But at the end of it, it takes a
right,
village, and you're a part of that village. And people give birth to more things than just children. That children have to live in this world. And so the Whitney Houston song said it the best. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well. Let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty that
exactly.
they possess. Because we ugly as fuck. Okay?
That's
Give
a
them a
fact.
second try because we don't have none. To make it easier, because it's hard.
Because it's
Right.
like the further we go, we only mess them up. You know what I'm saying? Like they gotta like we don't have the like the what it takes in order to like be clean and do things the you know what I mean the right way.
Right.
Everything that we already tamed, but we got a chance to push them without being tamed.
I
You know
think
what
the
I'm
Queen
saying?
said it best. Queen, you said it best when you said there's no ma'at. There is no balance.
Right.
There is no ma'at. Those are the real laws, the lo'al. Everybody knows that. Or we're learning that slowly but surely. You know, but even that effort is more important. Decolonizing yourself mentally, decolonizing yourself culturally, decolonizing ourselves economically and artistically and spiritually. This is all imperative for growth because we are in a colonized land, so we're doing colonized people, places, and things. You feel me?
Right. Right.
And so that's how we easily catch those American demons. You feel me? And then we got the demons of both. And you think if we don't got all this post-traumatic slave trauma, they don't got post-traumatic massa syndrome?
Right.
You feel me?
Shit.
We
Hell
already
yeah.
got.
Yep. That's a fact. I definitely think you know. And that's actually a good. I've never even really thought about that, but that is something that needs to be kind of
We're
brought to
getting
the
stuck
table.
in the past. And we're getting stuck with them by following their nation, knowing how it was built.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, and I appreciate the kind words about my queen. She's very intelligent. But I look at this manosphere thing, and to me, they're saying, "Look, I give up. The white man won. Let's let's
Yeah.
let's do what he tells us to do, and we have a good life, and we can even get a white woman if we want one." I think that's the message on this
But you
basic
did the
level.
right thing though, because you already did the right thing by first of all listening and observing. Understand that when a woman gives you a grievance as a man, that is because they still see that authority in you, whether you see it yourself or not. The only reason why she's grieving to you because you got the power in her mind to change it.
Yeah.
You see, and so that's still a faith. And so once they start to lose that, that's why we got to fight for them. We got to do what's right. And this is a tough situation, but we cannot lose the women. Because, see, there's a great deal of men, not you, not him, not him, not him, but who have already divested from black women, who have already left black women, and who didn't even do it with tact, who did it and took and act like it was such a pedestal and so much better than the black woman. And then they went over there and did her just as dirty as they did the black woman to really show the black woman he just didn't want you. And so this is what a lot of women is taking in. They're taking in that lack of representation. They're taking in all of this fucked up culture. They're taking in people coming in and trying to replace us, being transracial and all that shit. And they're still looking at the same centuries old fight that's not being fought hard enough. So at the end of the day, they're disappointed in us. And the day that they do decide, and I said this before Sin said anything, before anything said anything, I said the day that black women decide to stop giving birth to us, that's when I'll be alarmed. Well, it happened in 2021. Okay?
Yeah.
Black women are now saying if it's a boy, cut his head off. And I used to use a joke and say, well, at least they ain't saying, off with his head if it's a boy, because that day when black people leave us, it's over. And it really happened.
Oh, yeah. And it's becoming a reality. And I think we kind of overlooking the cry out in a way.
Do you acknowledge, though, brothers, that that's a response from black women? Man.
Yeah. I agree. I agree that it's a response. I didn't like the response, but I agree.
I know.
Because my wife does it. And I had to learn that because my wife is fire. And I'm like earth. Like she'll scorch the earth. And sometimes I gotta sit there and take it. And once the fire goes out, I go back and I grow the grass again. And
rise like a phoenix, because that's an element that's working right there. So the opposite to the fire, or what's going to work with the fire, is good ground for it to burn on. Yeah. And so there it go. And so that's how you work and do and get in touch with your elements. At the end of the day, a black man, instead of being scared, not us, but instead of being scared of these strong, spirited and all of these black women, you should be attracted to them, knowing our situation in society, that at least that you're waking up slowly but surely, but at the end of the day, at least your woman is woke. Because, and see, it's more to life than just being woke too. We can't just be woke and that's the fuck it, because too many of us is already living and dying on potential. So at the end of the day, when you see these queens for who they are, you're supposed to build a kingdom for the queen to have her throne and queendom and sit on. You see what I'm saying? And nurture that environment, because it's a very powerful thing. It's irrepayable what the queen can bring you. And so, see, we can, and it's irrepayable what we can do for them too. You think they want to do all this and do that? So we work and we provide and we care and we protect. You get all the unlimited pussy. You get children to retake on your name, to build your empire. You get all that's priceless. Nigga, stop acting like you the prize when these queens is the package.
That's a fact. The motivation too that comes with it.
I'm not saying we not worth nothing. We the best man on this fucking planet, but that's the best woman on this planet. And every man puts his woman first, not on the front lines, but first.
Right.
And they're not competing with her. And I'm gonna shut up. They're not competing with her because I'll go on and on because I'm sick of these dickheads because they make us all look bad. Fuck that. We love
you're right. And that's what it's come to, because and that's what I was listening to. Like like you said, it's become a competition. Like it's become now we're competing with women. Like to the point of we're trying to see how much she's making a year as in opposed to how much black men are making a year. It's like, what the hell is that about? You know what I'm saying? Once we start doing that type of stuff, we're in a competition on who's more educated, who's and the competitions all got to do with being in captivity. Basically, we just trying to see who then rolls the furthest in captivity. Like
that's called the oppression Olympics. That's the oppression Olympics.
Like it's getting ridiculous. And so it's like, but we can't feed into that. I think our issue is that when we hear they're hurt, we try to trade hurt.
Right.
Like, well, yeah, you was hurt, but I was also hurt here. And then you if you think you finna trade hurt with women, bro, that's like you say your head hurt, and then she tell you her head hurt. How far you where you want to go with that next? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to take the L on it, bro. She got a worse headache than you. Your shit is minor right now. Trust me. But a lot of times we try to trade back, and you really just end up looking like an asshole.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry you were raped, but I was what are you finna say right now, bro? Like at that point, number one, once it goes into that and it gets personal, you really can't engage that type of discussion anyway. All you can do is listen. And so that's where you just kind of listen. Okay, cool. And you know what I mean? But in the discussions where you can where they're more formal, I think those are the conversations where we introduce the numbers and shit like that. And I don't think as a split because I think when we like I was really kind of looking at like the numbers and like okay, so where are they getting the stats from of the education of black women and the money and this and that, and I found it was conservative talking points straight off of the conservative radio. I was like, here we go.
It wouldn't matter. That's still something to be proud of. If black women
Yeah,
is the most educated, black men should be proud of them. If black men is the most educated, black women should be proud of them.
no,
And
I definitely think that.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
we be
No, I
ashamed.
think no. What a problem though that it created though is like so some of the stats that were being shown was like Asian men and black women are making more money off the dollar than everybody else, and that really ain't true. You know what I'm saying? And where it messes up is it's like a false hope of we've been making progress
But if it's
when we're
not
not.
true, family, we have to prove it wrong. We have to prove the lies wrong with the truth. Live in proof in truth.
Right,
Go off your own stats. And so everybody wants to say, oh, what, not based on my experience. Everyone take their individual experience and veer off the discussion a lot of time, not you and now, but a lot of times they do that. And so
right,
the
right.
way to get to that is, again, to just be able to overstand why you're listening. You know what I'm saying? You're not listening just to listen. You're listening so that you can apply yourself. And you hear these things. Them stats don't mean nothing. One stat off wrong is too much. So who cares who did the math? So, and if we don't know it, we go and start from here, start from zero and prove it to you that we got more, or prove it to you that we do more, prove it to you that we're the smartest in the survival and the thoroughbredest of the fittest. You see what I'm saying? We are the original humans here,
Right.
and we are not children anymore, for we are men now. And when we were children, the vast majority of our community can look back when we had those boo-boos and when we were hurt, who nurtured us. A lot of us had a father missing, okay? And a lot of people had their dad there, and a lot of people nowadays want to be there. Why? Because they didn't have a dad there. And then a lot of people will say, oh, the single, call a woman that way. You're a single mother and this and that, but no one talks about the absentee father. And so this plays a detrimental role on the entire black apparatus.
Yeah, I think and it was something that it was some fellas that had started something where they was like I think it was like in Atlanta they was doing like a stepfather's ordeal where like
That's
they
nice.
were just like you know what I'm saying where like it was gonna be like they
Niggas be
basically
acting
step
slow
in.
though. Why niggas be acting slow? Because
Hmm.
this is the thing. Niggas, they want all these wives and all this thing. Do you know that if you was actually to really have all of the resources that you needed to be the best that you can be and actually cared about all of this stuff, you could actually pick all the single moms you want. Put 5 of them girls in the mansion and marry them all. And nobody don't is missing a dad now. And you're gonna have new kids growing a family with all of these women who would love each other. Trust me, they do it all the time. And y'all think that
Yeah,
you have multiple wives because you want multiple pussy, but you're not thinking about empires and bringing dads back.
that's a that and see that's an aspect I think people like and shout out to Iman Bashir because that's something that he does. You know what I'm saying? In a way, it's more so he's more so building families in a way than you know what I mean, just thinking about the other stuff. It- you know what I mean? It's a respectable way that you do it, and I think in a lot of times, I think the lust kind of gets in the way of that. But Iman Bashir, I think, is definitely one that does. But
Well, what do y'all think?
uh,
What do y'all think, Naeem and Queen? What y'all think?
Oh, she left with the kids right now. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. But I just think as men, because I tried it. Man, I did communal living, but it was my fault. I wasn't prepared as a man. I didn't see all the problems. I didn't know black people had that many problems. I'm gonna put it that way. Um, the infighting. When things get hard, there's a lot of complaining. So I took a step back and I'm working on me, and we would get. I know we're gonna get the communal living back. It's just I have to be prepared because it's a level of manhood I wasn't expecting.
right, right, and I think that that's something too that doesn't get talked about enough is what does that even inquire? What does it look like? What does it kind of take in order to, you know what I mean, to be able to
Yeah,
do that?
yeah,
And you know what I mean, what type of resources, what type of work, how much, like what kind of land we would need, you know what I mean, and stuff
right,
like that.
right. How did
Because oh no, go ahead.
No, no. I was just saying that there's so much into it as far as the man part. Just because you want to do it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. But as the brother Youssef was saying, you have to be willing to take a lot of responsibility. Children that's not yours. Yet, and not just a stepdad, but you have to be the father. You have to be responsible.
You know what else too,
Right,
fam? Be a better brother too. Be a better uncle.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
a better friend. Be a better neighbor. You know,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah. You ain't gotta be the kid's dad to make sure they good. It don't gotta be your kids to make sure they good. It don't gotta be your queen, your woman. That ain't
right.
my girl, so I ain't gonna protect her.
Exactly right, right,
Dumbass.
right.
and
All of
that's where
that,
we at
right,
now.
right. That's all of that has to be in place in a man's mind. I can be a good friend, and I'm not looking for nothing else. I'm you know
Right,
I'm paying. I'll pay for this, but there's no strings attached.
Oh
I'm
wow.
I'm just your friend. You know,
Fam.
I'm your neighbor.
Something just happened. It's something just downloaded. Like imagine being oh never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, fam. But I thought I had a spiritual message, but then the shit went away.
oh no, you good, guy,
Keep
you
Yeah,
going.
good.
yeah, go
It
ahead,
was
go ahead.
something you were saying.
No, I was just substantiating what you were saying. Just being a better version of me and my family in my neighborhood. With the people around me. But to be honest, I can remember in the '90s, I saw this coming, but I didn't. I knew the women were getting upset. I knew the men was already frustrated, and we didn't care. We were just gonna go get the bag. We didn't care about nothing else but me. Make sure I had the most money. Make sure I was the best looking. But I knew that the options for women were slim. I thought the women was gonna just say, "Look, we just gonna find us a good man." Even if 10 had to get them, but instead they're saying they're divesting. Man, I didn't foresee that.
Right,
But there was no space for black men when I was coming up to talk about these topics. We had the church, you might have had a mosque, the Nation of Islam, but this topic here of Ma'at and things balanced. I don't remember anybody talking about it. I know they had people talking about it, but the information didn't get to the streets. It didn't
No,
get to the grassroots.
no one was listening.
Right, right,
Right,
right.
right. And I think that's where a lot of when we started talking, because and I think that's where the problems of like our 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 spiritual roots kind of play a part because we kind of more so try to fall into a patriarchy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's like our
and
default position.
yeah, and it's like it just don't it don't like the we don't really the examples that we had. I mean, it's just like what Domo was saying last night. I mean, it's plantation fucking patriarchy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like
That's plantationarchy.
yeah. Well, it's like where we're copying the 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 master on how he treated his wife. You know what I'm
Right. The
saying?
status quo. We have to create a patriarchy of our own that's going to compete with that in order to dominate that. And this,
Right.
and it came back to me. This is what I was saying because every now and then I get a spiritual download and I turn into Yusuf of Saturn. And let me tell you what it is. This is how we gonna get our kingly order and divine masculinity back. I'm telling you all the things that we're going over, but also this. This is the message: be like God. Okay, the message is be like God. Now I know a lot of people say that all the time, and not to even take it there, but to take it there. God created things out here, created us, and took care of us, gave us everything we need, maintained us, and we're here sustaining, right? And so be like God in that sense. Of all that is created out here is of you, of God, right? And then so care about them kids, all kids. Show it and work for it. And them women, show it and work for it. Regain that respect and dignity back. It's a sense of pride in that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a major. I, I think we, in a lot of ways, it's almost like we be scared of it.
We are. The way God look at this planet, these people, and these elements that He created is the way that we need to look at each other. You see what I'm saying? And especially the little
Right.
babies, because that's the little baby Jeebus.
Yeah, and that affection
I
for
know I'm gonna
babies
watch
is like
this,
gone.
but do something with it. Shit.
And to me, it gets dangerous because when you hear somebody like Kevin Samuels talk about babies, it's like it's a price attached to it.
Right, right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's like,
they can't
damn,
pay.
bro. Yeah, so that's why, like, in a lot of ways, that's why I be telling people it's like we talk about this like it's a black issue, but the world is moving like this.
Yeah, yeah. And that
You know what I'm saying?
if you remember that
Yeah.
debate I had with Dumbo about the nigga,
Yeah.
the plantation master has made a commodity out of everything. Everything is for sale. Everything has a market value, and that's how we see ourselves now. How much is something worth? What is the value? What is the market value of that? What type of price tag can I put on that child? On what type of money I can make?
What's wrong?
And 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 it's becoming global to see everybody has some type of market value, and they're losing their humanness.
But that's us. It sounds like people are used to being bought and sold.
Yeah,
Now they're selling themselves.
yeah, right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
We sell ourselves and we brag on it.
Mm-hmm. For bottom dollar.
That's what the internet then became. A way to sell yourself. You know what I mean? And figuring out how many different ways can I sell myself? What does it take to sell? You know what I mean? How much am I valued at? And to the point, I don't really see like we talk about um people not. wanting to be married. And I don't really see that it get more people wanting to get married when there's a price attached to it. When both the man and the woman is now saying how much it's gonna cost them to be married, how much the kids is gonna cost them,
Right.
how much what I'm saying, how much the college is gonna cost them, where I need to be. And it's like, to me, the authenticity of it is now being gone, and which I think you end up falling back into the same trap that you're saying is the problem now. There's no genuine. Like, the main issue is that we're talking about is we're missing genuine affection. Like, it's just like a gap there. And like, we try it, you know what I'm saying? But it's just, and sometimes we be on the doorstep of it, but it's like we don't really want to go all the way out.
Right.
You
But
know what I mean?
genuine
Over
affection. I mean, how much money can you make off of genuine affection?
exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so that, you know what I mean? And when we didn't kind of got past that part, so it's like I don't see how you don't end the best person for you in that situation is yourself.
Right. Right.
Like, that's all I can see. The most cost effective, yeah, I mean, efficient uh family that you could have would be you. That would
Right.
be it.
Right. Or
You'll
or
save so much
or the
money and time.
corporation or some type of corporation
Right.
where everybody in the corporation is trying to turn a profit for the corporation. To hell with a family.
Facts. 'Cause I don't think, and it's that, to me, is an incentive I think people are not really, looking at. So they're saying, what situations they want somebody to be in before they get together, or what conditions. Well, the conditions that we headed in is that they gonna be getting themselves in position for themselves. You know what I mean? You can be
Right.
preparing to be, the light. Most people are now getting away from being tied down. They just want to live and
Right.
do what they do. You know what I
See,
mean? If they want
to
somebody
me,
tonight, they do.
right. To me, that's the message of the manosphere. What you saying?
Right. And
Just do
that's that.
you,
That's the
whatever
new
it
age
takes.
shit.
Yeah.
And maybe if you find love along the way, you may find it. You don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's where we've been kind of, the TV shows been kind of gearing us towards that. It's been like a lot of different elements that's been kind of telling us, like, hey, you don't have to be, uh, you don't have to care about who you with, who you lay down with, or why. It can be for over. It can be because of a smile. It can be because of the moment that you're currently feeling in, or it because of a drink that was bought. Like, now it's opened up so many different doors for that. But it's like, I think even in that instance, we don't even still think about, like, it's still creation that that can happen. Are you good, God? You know what I mean? Creation that can be, that can, it can still happen even when you're being careful, or when you're doing that. And so then what? What do you do with those consequences? You know, we just got to kind of get away from putting a price on things,
Right.
and,
Right.
and
And what's so
on
funny?
everything.
Technology has put us in that position where we can do that. Man, we can make things cheap now. We can take old vehicles, put electric motors that run off of batteries. We don't have to worry about gas anymore. A house can be completely autonomous with the technology we have now. But we're so used to doing things the old way, and the powers that be want to maintain their power. But to me, the move for the future is this back to humanness, back to putting a value of a person because they are a person, and not what they're worth or their profitability. And I think that's the
I get why, because and that's why I say it's dangerous because in the system it makes sense.
Right, right,
Like it's an incentive for it and it makes sense. Like it makes sense, you know, for when Perkins says, I can't worry I can't worry about somebody else. The only woman I could put my job on the line for is my wife. It makes sense in the
right,
system. It just doesn't make sense towards our progress. And those like are the issues. It's like, yeah, I get why you wouldn't want to do that. Or why, okay, so they're going door to door pulling people out. I can understand why you don't want to get involved because it's not your door.
right.
But in the larger picture, your door is probably coming up soon. you
Right,
know
but
what I'm saying? So it's
that's the
like,
lesson learned, Blue. And that's why I think the the African in America, the Black American, can we have the answer. That's what happened in Africa. You know,
right,
they couldn't just come in and just start taking people. So they studied what tribes were fighting and said, "Oh, the Mandinka is fighting the Hausa. We gonna we're gonna get with the Hausa and help us overthrow the Mandinka." Okay, they overthrow the Mandinka, then they get with the Fulani to overthrow the Hausa. And all the
right,
time, we saying, "Yeah, get them, because of all the years of fighting. We don't like them Negroes anyway." It's the same thing here. We don't care what they do to them people as long as they don't do it to us. But eventually, they're gonna do it to us. If you just look at it, the history of things. So when you see an injustice anywhere, it's an injustice everywhere. That's how
facts,
we got to see it.
facts. Yeah, I think that aspect of it is always overlooked. And so it's like it's almost like a what's good with you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I appreciate that guy. Hell yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's a part of the aspect. I think we don't look enough outside of of what's just going on just with you and worry about because the more that we worry about each other, I think the safer we able to make an environment. And I think like if your kid, if I allow your kids to run around bad as hell, and I'm cool with that, but my kids is outside playing with them, then it's only a matter of time before your kids start to affect my kids and how they act. And that I think get overlooked. And so niggas be willing to be like, shit, that ain't mine. Or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I ain't got to worry about that or deal with that. And they lose every time. I think that's how we end up losing the whole neighborhood. Now you want to place you don't even want to live in.
Right, right. We just got to look at the chessboard as we got it, and our positions in it.
Right.
Instead like I've been hearing a lot where people say, "I'd rather fight to be a part of the 1% than struggle with the bottom feeders," or however they say it. And
Right.
that's the mental position that's killing it.
And holding us back.
Yep.
Holding us back. Hold on, hold me down 1 second.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So this whole ideology that one day we're going to be a part of the 1%, the 5%. Um, but with that mentality, what about your children? And then your children's children? Because if you keep thinking that you're going to make the 1% and then your children are going to be okay, it's a very, very small possibility that happens. If you just think, man, if we could just change the mind of the majority of the people, because it's the people that change the world. It's the common man that changes the world. The elite thinking or those that call themselves the elite, they force them way they force their way into the common people's lives. Either through military force, police force, the control of resources, and then they control the way we think about each other. But we have to take control of how we think about each other, how we think about resources. That's what's going to change things in our situation. And that's where we are as a people. You might think you're the 1% or close to the 1%, but you're really not. There's very few black people. Now, it may be 100, less than 100 families that's close to the 1%. And the people that really dominate in America are part of the 0.01%, which there are no black people in that category. So it's much better if we begin to work with each other than all this fighting and bickering. It's the same thing on YouTube. If black YouTube begin to organize themselves, we can control the market for black YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, but we're competing against each other, so it becomes fractions. Everybody's just getting small fractions instead of
And it's,
controlling the whole pie and then competing against white YouTube. And I do believe we have the better entertainment, but because we're so uh, compartmentalized, we so fractured, we just compete against one another until we get fractions on a dollar.
yeah, hell yeah. And I think that like it's one thing if it's a way like we could do it in a healthy manner,
Yeah,
but instead it we are really competing. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were doing it and it was like WWF, because when they're competing, it's like WWF.
right,
Like when I was like studying the Bible, I was like, okay, I start seeing Christians and Jews and Muslims at the highest level is really WWF. They're playing, but
right,
in all actuality, they all have to stand. They all have to stand on the same foundation in order to validate all three of their. You know what I mean?
right,
Their different views.
right.
So once you see that, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Instead, we're arguing like we're getting too far into the core, and now we ain't even like building. We're at the point we're trying to tear it down. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
trying to tear everything down. It's like, nah, we can both beef and both build.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? If we do it the right way, because okay, it's obvious. Okay, we know drama is what brings people in. They like to see people funking. They like to see, you know what I mean, some smoke. You harness and control that in a way to where it never gets out of hand where you lose. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
Because we should always be able to win. I don't have to be mad that you winning. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It, but instead, it's like it turns into little stuff over a doctrine, over a scripture, over a verse. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Over a handshake went
I
wrong.
like to use the NFL as an example. They have
Right,
what's called collective bargaining agreements, and
right,
that's a socialist um, ideology. Collective bargaining agreement. They didn't always have it. They started having it when, like, a quarterback, he might ask for $100 million, and only one or two teams can afford to do that. So one or two teams was getting all the best players. You remember the NFC East at one
right.
time was just winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl. The Giants, the
Yeah,
Redskins. Uh, I mean, you could throw the 49ers in there, but even
the,
the 49ers kept
yeah, the
winning and awarding.
Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles,
Right.
the Cowboys. And they said, man, we can make more money if we balance the teams out. So they started.
Right.
They had collective bargaining agreements. You could only pay a rookie so much. The lowest teams is going to get the best players because the stronger the league is, the more money we have, and
Right.
it won't be concentrated in this one little spot. And only one team wins a Super Bowl, but everybody gets a large part of the pie, and they're fine with that.
Right.
And they still compete. They're just as competitive, but they work every year. They got to sit down at the bargaining table to make sure everybody taken care of. And as Black people, that's what we need to learn.
Yeah, that's definitely, and like I said, I think that's something that we just kind of we overlook. We don't understand how to. Well, we do. We seem to compete without going over the top. It just seems like as long as we're not the ones in control of the whole game for some reason. But it's like if we controlling the game, we rather tear it all down than
Right.
you know what I'm saying. It's like golly, bro. Like over and that be that ego part.
Yeah,
You know
ego.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like you just forgot about your principles, bro. Remember what you came here to build for black people, and now you willing to tear it down because your ego is bruised. Like
yep,
damn, and
yep.
you don't feel good after that. You know what I'm saying? Well, shortly after that, maybe, but it's only so long where you feel like, damn, man, I've been working on all of that and didn't do
Right.
what I was supposed to do.
Well,
So
Blue, I
that,
got to roll up out of here.
yeah, man, I'm finna shut it down, man. I'm gonna see what's going on
All right. Good
with
talking.
around these streets. Man, I appreciate you showing up too, bro. I
Yeah.
definitely do. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the wife. Shout out to the House of Mbutu.
Yeah. Be looking out
Definitely.
for us. We're gonna be doing more things in 2022.
Man, I appreciate that, man. We definitely looking forward to that. Definitely will be. Let me know. I definitely, be dropping the links in the description when I go live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That
All
way
right.
I'll be able to just go ahead and sub. So yeah, man, definitely. So yeah, shout out to the Sith Lord. We shall be
Peace.
doing this again. Shout out to Yusuf, man. I appreciate you showing up and coming through today, man. Definitely, always a great build. Uh, I'll probably be going live, man, a little bit later on. I got something I want to do a live on. Um, I probably actually be going into Alice Walker and them. I want to go into some of their words and how they actually feel, what they actually say from their own mouth about womanism in itself. Um, what role black men play in that, and if that is still if black men are even a priority in womanism. So these are some of the things I'll be getting into. Um, and yeah, I'll either try to, depending on what's going on tonight, I'll make sure it ain't no debate or nothing like that. If there ain't no debate or nothing, I'll definitely be jumping back on, doing a live on that. But like I said, man, I definitely do appreciate it. This is definitely love. Everybody who showed up. Um, make sure, man, y'all are sending out prayers for Nikwa B. She still is in the hospital. So make sure y'all sending out love and prayers. But yeah, man, with that being said, y'all already know, man, this was another Dark Side production. Power to the dark side. Remember, if you are listening to this together, we are Babel. Let's build.
たった一つたった一つのたった一人たった一人の私はここ
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle, what's a mess? On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for our check. Headed to the Capitol to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical, you can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from the hip, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotion. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told him get up out the cold before my nigga deform. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep poems to a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 501, both hands in the sky. Little do they know it's no plan to survive. I ain't finna give them no chance to decide. I'ma put they feet in both hands in the fire. Dancing in the fire like E-Shake. You gon' test the water, never get both feet wet. We done overexposed the city defense to the overexposure indecent. They don't know they diving in the deep end. Ain't no way that they surviving through the weekend. Everything blown in the flash like a beacon. Drowned in the flames, it's too late to let it sink in. Got 10 ways I can be vengeful. Sitting on 10 grenades, every last pinful. This guerrilla war, they don't know what they in for. I can hear them at the door trying to move in slow. I can hold them off, I got 3 shots. Taking every soul for at least 3 blocks. I can smell the fire burning through the sheetrock. Seeing bodies in the flame, nigga try and reach out. This is how you practice what you finna speak out. Thinking about the facts that they try to leave out. This is for my roots running through the deep south. Dying for a cause, what we finna beef out. If you ain't about the cause, what you finna beef out. Showing up deep, we gon' bring the streets out. Every man line up, showing what your street out. An independent state, what a nigga need now.
たった一つのたった一人の